Morning, one and all. Welcome to Ange-r Management on Tottenham on tour. Not gonna lie, this one's gonna be hard. This one hurts. If we'd lost like that in the Premier League, I'd be in a lot better place than I am right now. I am joined by my partner in crime, Skeletor, apparently. Johnny,
I
Johnny, how are
just,
you doing, sir?
I'm all right. According to some people, I think I died last night. If I listened to most of the what was going on Twitter, um, we lost to Man City. You know, we didn't lose to Barnsley or Wigan. Um, we lost to a better team with
Yep.
half our team missing. But there were negatives. But you know, I need to look at the bigger picture. And can I just say again, for the people who watch this show or the people that are watching it for the first time, okay, this is Ange-r Management. Okay, we're not like the other streams where we just talk and whatever pops up. Yes, we have subjects, but we just go off on a tangent. This is about dissecting the game. So when we look at the game and we say X was poor or this is bad, this isn't us being negative. This is what the stream and this particular show is all about, looking at the positives and the negatives. So when I say one week X is bad and the next week, or Brian says the next week they're good, that's not us flip-flopping. That's us dissecting that game. It's
Yep.
game by game analysis and discussion. Okay, so I just got that one out of the way, Brian. Sorry.
Yep. Before we get to the show, I have to say the result in the end, I was annoyed at the beginning, but everything worked out because people will know a little package arrived for me yesterday.
Oh,
My little
oh
brother Ryan, when I met him at the airport after the ground, he said on the plane he was exhausted and he just wanted to go straight home to bed. But by the time I met him, he wanted to go one place and one place only, and we ended up back at the Scotland Yard. So didn't get in till gone midnight. But he's here. It's all good. He's asleep now. He's exhausted. He's absolutely exhausted. But before we get into the show, let's just say hello to everyone. So big up, Mr. Tony Rodriguez, Mr. Sweden. Big up, Wolves Fee. Scandinavia's covered today.
hey door,
Phil
hey
P.
door, hey door.
Phil P is in the house. Big up, Wolves Fee. Mark Cousin. Massive United. Big up, Joris. Big up, Ren. Good morning to you, hun. I hope you and all the Australians in here had a good Australia Day. John G, big up, how are we? Andrew Gregory, who else is in here? Kookaburra, Mr. Ben Kaufman. Yeah, it looked like you were bored to death when you had your skeleton. Red thought you'd had a haircut. What else have we got here? We've got Rich Man's in here. Sean Slater, my brother, is in the building. Shem Tam is in the building. Mark Cousins is in the building. Rayman is in the building. John Ellis Hall is in the building. Tom81 was in the building. Kate, good morning. MG, good morning. Toxic Headshot, good morning to you, sir. Who else? Michael Hellman. Andrew Ackerman, we have Lee Harvey is in the building as well, and I can see Johnny is in the back end. Johnny, Ben is in the back end to man the comments.
Can I just say
And big up Brian.
quickly? I was just going to quickly say, I didn't sit in my normal seat last night, and I sat behind a guy who sat behind me, and he was making a few comments, and I turned around and I said, "Hello." I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Oh, don't, oh, mate, I've been sussed out." And I says, "What do you mean?" He says, "I'm from Australia." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm from Sydney." He says, "But you know, I started supporting Spurs because of Ange."
Yep.
And so I'm a newbie, and so he was asking me. It was really nice. That's what made the evening more enjoyable. He was in the back of my ear asking me questions through the night about the game and some of the players. He was with his girlfriend, so it's good to know that, you know, due to Ange, our fan base is growing. It's a pity that he had to endure that last night, but hey ho, it is. But
And I saw you had some pictures with Sandro and Michael Dawson.
yes, indeed, Sandro recognised me, which was nice. Because I'm sure when he was playing, he wasn't taking anything. He looks like he's had a little bit of work done. Lovely fella.
I mean, he's incredible.
He is really such a nice guy. I used to sit with him and Bass in a box in the old stadium for a number of years. So I used to see him in there quite often. He's a stand-up guy. Also met Michael Dawson last night. They're two lovely, lovely guys. If only all footballers conducted themselves like that. Fantastic. Really great, great ambassadors for the club.
Okay, so that's all the niceties done. Let's get into this now. This one we might be on for quite a while today. Let's do it. Let's start where we always begin. Johnny, as always, you go first.
Oh, blimey, where to start? I think Ange summed it up, really. We tried to stay in the game. And that's all we did. We tried to stay in the game. They had a really high line and compressed us, but we had no one in that midfield who could break that line, and City knew it. Personally, look, I love Ange, right? But tactically last night, Pep showed him what it was all about. He knew we had no creative midfielders to break those lines, condensed the game, and we did nothing. But it was compounded by our inability to keep hold of the ball, pass the ball. Their press, we struggled to play through their press. It was very, very disappointing, really. I mean, we're playing Man City, but Rodri and Kovacic just absolutely bossed us. I've seen some of the ridiculous things that have been said in the press. In our to our fan base, and I'm not even going to really bring them up here. I think a lot of us will know if you're on social media, or maybe we will bring them up after. But we were missing Sarr, Basuma, Maddison, Sonny in that team. But that midfield was just, it was world class versus average. I mean, Bentancur's not even fit. So I think for us to have hung on for that long, to put us in that position was a minor miracle in itself. But no, it was very poor. It was very, very poor.
It was. What I will say is, we ended last season going into this season thinking that our defence was a shambles, and it was our weakest asset or our weakest block of positions. It's actually our strongest. The biggest problem for me yesterday was we failed to release the ball early, and it's been a problem for a long, long time. If Maddison's not on that pitch, or Bentancur isn't on fire, or not on fire, sorry, or back at his normal self, we do not release the ball early. Listen, there's no, everyone was great or everyone was brilliant, but people like at Brighton when Richarlison had 2 goals offside, and they're like, oh my God, he's always offside. And I said there and then, yes, he has got a problem with the offside rule, but we have a problem passing the ball at the right time. We slow it down, we take an extra step. And the amount of times it happened in the first half alone. In the first half alone, Timo Werner, and we'll get into players, but I'm just saying, the amount of times he had ran into space and was bombarding down that left wing, and the ball was simply not passed to him. It simply wasn't, or they held off and he'd run offside. It kept happening. It happened with Johnson. Listen, we'll get on to Brennan Johnson later. But the midfield and the forward line was a big problem yesterday. The midfield and the forward line was a big problem. Releasing the ball. And like you said, Man City were all over us. That first 20, 30 minutes, I don't think we got out our half more than 6 times. It was just non-stop. But once, like I said, when it was in our defensive third, excuse me, when it was in our back four, I felt confident. I felt really confident. We just couldn't string a pass together yesterday, could we, Johnny?
No, I mean, the other thing was, when you're under so much pressure, you need someone with a football brain to actually to think, right? And, instead of, I know Ange wants the ball back into play as quickly as possible, but when you're under constant pressure for 20 minutes, take the ball, put it down, go to take the free kick, stop, drop it, let someone else take it, stop some time, get everyone to get themselves back together and form a shape. or talk amongst yourselves.
Yep.
I've got to be honest with you. The other thing that I really struggle with is the ability in game management. That last 12 minutes for me, I turned around to the people around me and I said, unless Ange makes changes now, I've had arguments with people about this today, and obviously loads of people will disagree, but Romero's lying on the floor with cramp. Højbjerg is completely burnt out. He can't run. Timo Werner basically has had hardly any minutes in the last 2.5 months, and he's playing 90 minutes. He was burnt out. We desperately and Johnson wasn't tracking back. So you had Doku that came on and was giving so much pressure there for Porro. I thought to myself, right, you got Dragusin on the bench, who's a beast in the air, who's fresh, who's played every game in Italy. He's capable of coming on. Well, you could see Mickey van der Ven has only just come back from injury. They were all struggling at the back. And I just felt, rightly or wrongly, that interjecting Dragusin at the back, because I didn't think with 10 minutes to go, we had a hope of winning that game. It was my thing was preserving that game and making sure we didn't lose it, right?
Yep.
I know that sounds negative. I don't normally think like that or play like that, but we were sliding further and further back. Højbjerg gave the ball away twice and he had chances. And I just thought, Johnson for Emerson Royal, right? Bring on Emerson Royal, put Emerson Royal back as inverted right back, Porro pushing further forward, and the two of them can take care of Doku. And what's the worst that can happen by bringing Dragusin in? I actually think Dragusin would have actually won that header because he wins every header. When you actually get to watch him play, you'll see how great he is in the air. It's not the first time that I felt that we made the wrong choices. You know, Bentancur coming off. Yeah, he wasn't playing great, but was he worse than actually Højbjerg started to play at that point? I don't know. It's not the first time. And I just think, you know, did we change it up? No. Are we going to be one-dimensional and never change tactics? For me, I understand sticking to your guns and playing away, but I think you have to have a certain amount of flexibility to those tactics.
I think what I think we've got to add is, but I mean, first of all, it had shades of Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final when they had Fabregas, Hazard, and Diego Costa on the bench. And Manchester City, if they needed to switch it up, just had the likes of Jack Grealish, Doku, and De Bruyne to bring on, and we literally had James Maddison that could make a real impact. That's the difference.
That's going forward, Brian. I'm talking about.
I'm saying, but if they could put that much quality on the bench to bring off. Listen, you could say Son, Sarr, Basuma are away, and if they're there, and of course, it would have been completely different. But the quality they have available, and we all know why, and we all know how. Yeah, it just goes to show they could go. They took that game seriously. Had their sub keeper on, their star striker out, and could still have Grealish, Doku, and De Bruyne on the pitch. And when you make a double sub of De Bruyne and Doku, and we do it of Maddison and Ollie Skip, listen, you know it's two subs you'd rather have. But talking of Maddison, just very quickly, were you happy to see him on the bench, or would you have wanted him to start? Because when I saw it, I was like, do you know what? I wasn't happy that he was on the bench, but then I sat back and I thought, do you know what? I'd rather have him on the bench so if we need him, he can come on, rather than him be on the starting lineup, and if he's ineffective, he comes off. I thought it could have worked in our favour, but in the end, it didn't. But where were you on it?
I've been the same all the way through. In fact, I think I said it before when we signed him. I said, first of all, I made two statements. First of all, he will not play the whole season. He'll be lucky to play sort of 70% of our games. And the other thing I said, speaking to Leicester fans last season, was when he's had an injury, he's not the type of player that comes straight back into the team and plays, right? I thought absolutely no way that he should start. Absolutely none, right? And those 20 minutes, you could clearly see he's miles off. He's miles off, right? I would be amazed if he starts against Brentford. He might have to. I mean, can you explain to me why our players who play the least amount of games than any team in the league and in the first, second, third, fourth National League, why are we knackered? We were hanging on against Burnley at the end, right? What is going on? Are we training so hard that, you know, that there's a problem? Look, there's plenty of people in here who are agreeing with me, and I feel vindicated, guys. So the guys out there who say they agree that we should have switched to a 3 to give us some sort of hope. All I'm saying is I don't want to lose a game or hang on, but I felt we needed to hang on to that game because it was a game we were going to lose. I felt if we played them in 10 days' time, we would be stronger, personally. And, you know, I just think going to a back 3 would have prevented us from wave after wave after. I'm not saying it would have stopped the goal, but it would have stopped wave after wave of Man City's attack. We couldn't get hold of the ball.
No. And I'll tell you one thing as well. And I don't listen. I'm probably going to get a lot of stick for this, but this one, I don't know how many people will agree with me. I don't know if you agree with me, Johnny. The goal was a goal. The goal was a goal. If that had been Tottenham that had scored it, and it had been disallowed, everyone would have been in uproar. Everyone would have been in absolute uproar. Vicario should have done a bit better with it, or not a bit better. He should have done better. There should have been better cover for him. But if that's given, then so many goals are getting ruled out. For me, literally, that goal stood. That goal, I've got to be fair. I've got to be fair. For me, that goal stands. What about you?
Did you see who started marking Ake?
No.
James Maddison.
Well, there you go.
Right. So, but my point here is they were tired. This is the only point I'm trying to make here, right? Our defence was superb, but they were out on their feet, right? That's why we know Emerson has played at centre-back. We know Emerson can defend. We know Dragusin is great in the air. I'm just saying, right, we would have commanded our area better, I felt, if in the last 8-10 minutes, whatever, even the last 5 minutes, we'd have put on Emerson and Dragusin. I think we would have seen the game out and gone on for a replay. It wasn't to be, but this is what I'm talking about, in-game management and saying, look, we're slipping. I've got nothing on the bench, as you quite rightly said, up front to change this game. Therefore, the only thing I can do is preserve this 0-0 in the last 5 minutes and stop us losing the game, which for me was the most important, not to lose at a time when I realised there was no chance of us winning.
Yep. Listen, there's people again with exactly, Kevin. We've got people that think, yep, it was
he backed into him, Brian. I mean, he backed.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Listen, this happens. We go back to football now in the obviously 60s and 70s. You could deck someone, you could knock them, like half the tackles that go on now, you'd be sent off. It's a dip. I understand it's a different game, but they put one of their, like you said, James Maddison, who is an incredible football player, an incredible footballer, but not the toughest and the strongest. You put him against a built-up Nathan Ake.
Well, he started him and he slipped out, but he was the nearest person to him. And my point here is that in the 90th minute, when you can visibly see your defenders are tired, you know, Romero with 12 minutes to go was on his back, right?
Yeah.
With cramp, right?
Yeah.
It's obviously he's not, you know, I'm not saying take him off. I'm just saying add someone to it. I thought the second backing up, I didn't have a problem with the push and all that, but the second backing up, I thought was a bit much, to be honest. But hey ho, I mean, I think there's been about 3 or 4 of them in the league in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Yep. Trafford, there's been a few, and I think the refereeing decisions have been varied in each of them. So I think that's where fans probably, you know, if it was consistent, Brian, that every one of those was given as a foul, or
Yep,
every one of them
exactly.
given as a goal, I think there would be no real debate. But the fact that they flip-flopped between decisions on these sort of incidents has given rise to people getting wound up about it. We were never going to win that game.
I think what people got to realise as well, and the reason people are wound up, and the reason, like I said, it hits hard, is, let's face it, that was the one silverware or piece of silverware that we could have easily got our hands on, as opposed to the Premier League. I had it in my head that we were like the romance of the FA Cup, and the lucky when the year ends in one. I literally thought with Terry Venables passing, our name was on the cup. Then when it all broke yesterday, I wasn't aware, obviously, till the morning. It was Bill Nick's birthday. I was like, there's another omen. I was like, they haven't scored. When the VAR goal got ruled out for 5 minutes or 6 minutes, I was like, there we go. It's happening. If this had been a 1-0 defeat in the Premier League and we were doing Ange-r Management, I'd be in a much more positive mood than I am now. There are a couple of positives to take from the game, and we'll move on to that shortly. But I think it's just another season. I mean, I saw something horrific yesterday. I don't know if people have seen it on Twitter. I don't know what stand it was in, but there was a 3-on-1 fight where guys were literally beating the crap out of a guy on the floor. And there's there's people just recording this footage and not doing it.
Spurs fan?
Oh, well, the Spurs fans, yeah. The Spurs fans, yeah. So yeah, it was just, listen, it was
that old lady they were beating up was pretty tough, I hear, to be honest.
That the FA Cup was that's why it's hurt so much for me. That FA Cup means so much to me. It means that, listen, it's a trophy at Tottenham, and it's another year. With the inroads we're apparently making, with the inroads that we've done with going early, with the inroads that things look like they're all going into play, the inroads of FFP and PSR or whatever it's called, MRI, X-ray, ABC, whatever the bloody Premier League thing is called. It all looks like it's going our way, and then just to go out like that in the FA Cup, it hurts. But we'll move on.
Looking at Twitter, Brian, last night, I thought some of them were suffering from PTSD, to be truthful with you. I mean, you know, we've been beaten by Man City. Look, we all wanted to win.
That's ridiculous. I mean, anyone doing this is just absolutely... Look, I'll say my one thing. This is the one thing I'm going to say about this. The one thing I'm going to say about this. People come at me and other people like me for constantly banging a drum about a certain person. People come out and want to bang the drum and say, Ange out. Have you lost your mind? If another manager gets vilified and gets called out like this, if they were out in force, like Sean was saying, then I don't know what it blows my mind. It blows my mind that people could want this man out. It really, people say to me when I go on about a certain person, they go, oh, well, if not that owner, then who? Well, if there was no Ange, I hate to think who would come into this football club and do what he's been able to do in 6 months, 7 months? It's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. Anyone that wants this man out, literally, if any of these people have had a go at me for saying Levy out, and you're sitting here saying Ange out, then you've lost your argument immediately. But that's enough on my rant about that. Johnny, positives.
Well, I thought the ball boy was unbelievable last night. I mean, the speed in which he put the ball back, he fetched those balls, swapped the balls. The Man City players were over the moon with him last night. Kyle Walker was patting him on the back, giving him a high five. He brought the water out for them. Amazing job. And I'd also like to give a special mention to the girl who came to sort out the linesman when his audio equipment went down.
Oh, what was that all about? I mean, come on.
I mean, seriously, right? I mean, I was shouting out, I've got 2 spare batteries. Right. I mean, really, how long did that take? No, joking aside, the positives.
We're lucky we didn't pick up another injury, Johnny. We're lucky.
Well, we did say that in the cold, just standing there, right?
Yeah.
No, joking aside, on a serious note, the positives are, for me, that was a team without Son, Sarr, Basuma, are nowhere near fit at the moment. Bentancur, a not fit Maddison, and that is nowhere near our full strength squad. And this is a 7 months into a project. We are 7 months into a project. I've got lots of things that I'm not happy about, you know. I've just forgot one of the negatives, actually.
Go on.
Why are we constantly finishing games exhausted? Why? So it must be either the training or the fact that because we're not rotating, these players are knackered. What would have happened? What state would we be, or where would we be had we been in Europe right now, or actually in the cups on a cup run, playing those extra games? We can't even cope. We can't even cope. We've had 3 cup games all season, 3, and the league. That's all we've had.
Yep.
And look at us. We're depleted, exhausted mess. Something isn't quite right. I don't know if Ange's he's working them to the point of exhaustion on the training pitch, so they've got nothing left. I don't know, but there's something amiss.
Yep. Johnny, when what was I going to say? I think the one thing about this, is I'm hoping now. We're not going to go too much into transfers. I just want to very quickly. I think now going out of this cup, and obviously there's this gloomy feeling about going out of the cup. I think Noosa gets announced quicker, and I think as well. I know we have Basuma Sarr out, Maddison to come back, Bentancur. I think there is a midfielder coming in. I don't know if it. Listen, I will say I've been very, very vocal with this that I don't think Conor Gallagher's the one. I know that a lot of people it's hit and miss with this. Listen, just bring in another midfielder. Conor Gallagher would have been Conor Gallagher would have made a huge difference yesterday.
Oh, massive.
This is coming from someone that doesn't want him. But I actually think that Conor Gallagher is actually being used as a Paratici smokescreen. I really do.
Well,
I
it always
think
is. It's always.
I think on Tottenham Hotspur, not saying this will happen, but I think there's going to be a midfielder come out of left field like a Van der Vaart deal, like right at the death, because I think that's shown, like you said as well, when it comes to tiredness, when it comes to exhaustion, like we said, we were all thinking, only 1 game a week, we should be fine, we should be flying. Just before we go into the positives, got a super chat from Phil P. Big up, my brother. Yeah, we're gonna come to him when it comes to special mentions. We're gonna come to whoa, Big Mickey Van der Ven. Whoa, Big Mickey, mate. I've got that going, popping off in the Scotland Yard. Remember when we were going to Burnley and singing that, mate?
Yeah.
It is going. It's popping off in the Scotland Yard.
Listen, I tell you, if he doesn't sign the midfielder, I've told you I believe a midfielder's coming in. If he doesn't sign the young boy right from Norway, I swear to you, it will be a noose around Levy's neck. Let me tell you.
Yeah, let's. I mean, listen. Like I said, let's get these likes up, people. There's over 200 of you in here now. Let's try and get that to 100. We always get over 100 live on Ange-r Management. If you could smash the like, it would be awesome. Believe me, at the end of the show, I'm going to tell you about some wicked content that's coming up for you this week. And your support has always been invaluable. You make the channel, so please, if you get a chance, smash a like, smash a subscribe. If you want to become a channel member and you have the funds to be able to do so, fantastic. If not, no problem. But please, if you can, like and subscribe. Johnny, let's do the positives. As in, not players, we'll do that in special mentions. But what positives have you taken out of yesterday? And everyone in the chat, let us know what you were thinking, if there were any positives for you. But you first, Johnny.
Well, I'd like our viewers to be a bit more positive. 57 likes, guys. Come on. It's that little thumb button. Give it a press. Helps the algorithm, helps the channel to grow. Okay? The more it grows, the more content, the more you see of Brian. And you might have to see more of me. Yeah, it all helps. It all helps. Positives. Look, I think the positive is that we beat a Man City team that is just hitting its stride. Yes, they had no Haaland. Yes, they had no KDB and Doku. but their control of the game was absolutely sublime. But that was against a weakened team. I'm not going to, although I've got lots of complaints about certain things, I honestly believe that I cannot judge Ange fully until I see how we perform and how he makes the subs when we've got a fully fit team. I think the press give us a really, really bad rub of the dice. I mean, I was driving back last night on Talk Sport and listening to the guy, Tottenham, who's had the worst week, Tottenham or Liverpool, right? I mean, come on. We lost to Man City 1-0 with half our team missing. No mention of that. And for me, that is the positive because, you know, we all know that with those players back, then, you know, we are a very competitive team who nobody will want to face. I want to see us when we go up against Manchester City later on in the season at the Etihad, hopefully with a full strength team, then I will make a judgment of where we are as a football club. Right now, I can't make a judgment, and no one can make a judgment with Ange out. When we've got so much our heart is ripped out of our squad. I mean, let's be serious. The first 3 on the team sheet or 4 on the team sheet are not there.
Yep. I mean, listen. I'll just say the only positive for me, apart from Maddison's return is obviously he's back, but obviously he's not fit. He's not fit. He needs to get there, and he will. Like a lot of people are saying, our defence. I can tell you now, last season, people remember when we were playing out for the back, and they were doing it yesterday, where the defender was taking the goal kick, and then they were pass. When it was Hugo Lloris at the back, I was going nuts. Ben Kaufman's in the chat. He'll tell you. We went to the. Do you remember the game we played against Everton? And Michael Keane scored that last minute thunderbolt. I was going absolutely nuts. Every time Hugo Lloris had the ball, every time we tried to play it out from the back, was going absolute nuts. Our defence was the worst defence we've seen in our recent history last season. And this season, it's so much stronger. It's so much stronger. When Vicario's playing it from the back, not concerned. When our defenders are playing it around, not concerned. Yeah, it's going to foul sometimes, but I have the faith and confidence that they're going to do something. And last night, especially in the first half, when Man City were just all over us with the press, all over us, we just couldn't get it out. But every time they got towards our back line, they just shut it out. Don't get me wrong, they had loads of opportunities, shooting from distance or whatever, but that back line restricted them to the clear-cut chances that they could have made. And Johnny, for me, the defence yesterday was by far the only, but easily the biggest positive, if not the only positive.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree. I just wish that people who are going on about the attack realise without a midfield against the Man City team, there is no attack, right? If the midfield's not there, there is no attack. I'm trying to understand, where do people expect them to magic stuff up from thin air? So, you know, let's wait and see. Yes, it's annoying that Basuma, Sarr and, you know, Sonny's playing Jordan or some tin pot country in the league. But, you know, let's wait and see.
Yeah, I will say, Ronnie, where you said 31 goals letting in the league more than Everton, you got to remember we haven't had Van der Ven, we haven't had the back 4 since the Chelsea game. I think that number would be. I get your point completely. And again, it goes down to the strength in depth we have. But now Dragushin, I've got to make sure I say it right in case that guy's there. Dragushin is here, but that number I think would have been a lot less if obviously we had the main back 4 available. But completely get your point. 100%.
You know, Ange doesn't care, Brian, don't you? Ange
Big up, Jace. Big up, Jace, brother.
Ange doesn't care about clean sheets. It's not something that he loses sleep over. I won't tell you exactly how I've heard it, but he's interested in winning games. And if he has to win a game 4-3, he doesn't care, right? Whereas certain players within that back line are obsessed with it, and that's all they think about. He's already told them, I don't care. This is the system I play, right? It's not just about keeping clean sheets. It's about the system. And, you know, as I said, if you have a great holding player, a fit 6, remember Basuma's been sent off or thrown out 3 times, right? Been on bans, right? A fit Basuma sat in front of that back 4 also gives us solidity and gives us that extra strength, and we concede less goals. You know, with Basuma, Mickey van der Ven, and Romero, we're not conceding 31 goals if we can keep that defence up, you know?
Yeah, I will say very, very quickly, Trigger, I completely forgot. I did see your message. I have a memory like a sieve at the moment. If you don't get a message from me by this evening, a response, please message me again so I see it, and I will get straight back to you. You have my word. Today I will get back to you. Do you know what, John?
Some sort of nickname, Dave?
Well, 501, as you know, in our spaces stands for something else. So we'll see. But what we will do, Johnny, I'm thinking, do you know what? When we do special mentions, should we just go right through the team rather than skipping and hopping? Right, because obviously we've left that. Let's go right through the team. So
okay. Let's just start at the top. Start at the top. There's only one man to talk about.
Well, what we'll do, we'll go right from goalkeeper up. We'll do it just like because it's just easier rather than jumping back and forth, because there's not going to be many ones that stand out special. So we'll go right across. So you start with Big Vic, your guy, my guy.
Big Vic. Look, he made 2 saves. One really good save. He made a great save before Oscar Bob poked it in. He's going to be a player. What a lovely little player he was. I mean, you know, that's the difference. Constantly wanting the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. That first 45. Our young players could learn a thing or two. He made 2 great saves. It was a mistake. It was undoubtedly a mistake for the goal, but honestly, he could make another 3. But you know, he's got so much in the bank. You know, they were talking about him more than anybody else pre-match. When I got home last night, I just watched a tiny bit of it.
Yeah.
An unknown who's come into the scene and as a human being. I mean, that scene the other week where he was down with the kids, you know, the goalkeeping coach, he was actually watching through the window and then got invited in to come down at a later date. Someone who gives up his home for Ukrainian refugees, a fantastic human being, a great person, a leader, a vocal leader. And as Ange said, when Sonny went and there was the void was there, he wanted to see whether he would have to step in to fill that void or the players would. And the 2 players that stepped in were Romero and Big Vic. Top draw player, top draw goalkeeper. And yeah, he made a mistake last night, but you know, it wasn't just him that was at fault for last night's performance.
But this is the thing though, isn't it, Johnny? If a goalkeeper makes a mistake, there's no one else to cover the blame.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if your midfielder makes a mistake and it gets through and it leads to a goal, you say I had to go past the defence and the goal, blah, blah, blah. Listen, no one can doubt how incredible Big Vic is. He made some good saves on the evening, one great save. He had a couple of wayward passes when he was trying to play it out from the back, but nothing major. But he's got to be stronger. He's got to be stronger. Listen, Ake is a unit. And you know, like they said, he has saved us so many times. It's like I said, it's just because it's the FA Cup. It's really got to me. He's got to be stronger. I think as well, and I don't know how you feel about this, Johnny, and not just goalkeepers. A lot of them feel that VAR will save them.
Yeah.
And I think that, not saying that they're going into that game thinking I'm not going to go in full force VAR, but I think when there is a mistake, they think VAR is going to save them. And as a goalkeeper, obviously, it gets looked at a lot more tightly, like a penalty. I'd say they look at it to make sure everything and he wasn't impeded. And I think in the back of his mind, he may have thought, I've made a howler here, or not a howler, but a mistake. And hopefully VAR will come and save me. It wasn't. I can't listen. It wasn't his best game by far.
What's that song? DJ saved my life tonight. Well, VAR saved my life tonight.
Exactly. Right? He got to listen, he had a mistake. It happened late. There was no time to respond. But that's the thing. When you look at that game and you take away what did Big Vic do, you're not going to remember the saves. You're going to remember the mistake. And that's just how it is. So I'll go next, and I'll take Pedro Porro, who I thought had a good game. I really do. Defensively, his set pieces, and sorry, that should have been another negative. Our set pieces yesterday were disgusting. Absolutely. There was one point as well. I don't know who did it. Did you see in the second half when we tried to take a quick free kick and we couldn't even put, we overhit the pass. We tried to take a quick free kick and the ball went out for a goal kick, and then they're going, whoa, we didn't take it, ball was moving, they tried to get it back. Our set pieces was atrocious yesterday. Porro defensively was very, very good. I think he really did lack something attacking wise, but defense wise, he was good. But yeah, going forward, he did not have the best of games. What was your thoughts on Porro yesterday?
Listen, again, defended very well for the first sort of 88 minutes. Again, he was limited to getting forward because Johnson was leaving these gaps, and every time he tried to commit, they were exploiting that gap, and so he couldn't commit himself. His passing, I don't know what happened. He put his hand up in that first half. He was down by me. He kept putting his hand up, right, like saying, "I'm sorry." The passing was shocking, right? Him and Bentancur, but we'll come on to him. But I've never seen him apologise so much. I mean, at one time he's like this, I can't believe it. He's like this, I can't believe what I've done. But that last 10 minutes, it wasn't his fault. When Doku came on, I just felt like, Ange, do something. Give him some support. Get Johnson off and get someone on, right? Okay. I don't think Maddison was ever going to change that game, right, when he came on at that stage. I just didn't think it was the right game for him. But, you know, again, he's had a very, very good season. He's played every game, every minute bar the first game. And he probably needs a little break, but he ain't going to get that now. With one game, God knows, you know, every now and then. It wasn't his best game, for sure. But he's probably the third or fourth best defender, and the defense was the only good thing about the game. So.
Okay. Well, I think you and me are going to disagree on a few of these players, but as we go out forward the pitch from when we've spoken, right, your choice. Do you want to speak about Big Mickey or do you want to speak about Cootie?
I'll speak Big Vic. That's
Mickey.
Mickey Van der Ven. Yeah, sorry, I'm a punch drunk. Mickey Van der Ven. I mean, listen. If anyone thought there was a better player on the pitch, you need to contact your doctor ASAP, because there was only one man who was ever doing it. I mean, the second half really peed me off, actually. The amount of people who come back late to their seats after the break. You know, it's like, you know, well, you get here for the start of the game. We're like, why aren't you getting here for the start of the second half? Like, oh, it's not important, I guess. They came back, oh, did something happen? Yeah, Mickey Van der Ven threw himself over what I thought was an absolute certain goal. I was waiting for the goal to bulge in that second half. His runs in that first half, the burst of acceleration, and he's not 100% match fit right now. He's only going to get better. He was just superb, sublime. His reading of the game, his reading of the balls coming through, his pace, the block. I can only think as this team gets back to full strength that we're going to be a bloody hard unit to beat, and he's going to be right in the heart of it. What are we going to do without him? Struggle.
I don't ever want to hear those words or ever have to.
That's why, Brian, I said we need backup left
My brother Terry, big up Terry. I saw him on Ben Kaufman's show. This man is one of the originals from day one of Tottenham on tour. Haven't seen him in the chat for a while. He's been busy. He's got life things going on, as everyone does. Terry, it's big up and good to see you. Listen, Mickey van der Ven, I'm going to make a bold statement now. I'm going to make a real bold statement. If he spends the large part of his career at Tottenham Hotspur, we are talking he will go down. When people talk about the great defenders of the Premier League, and they talk about Terry's, the
Yeah.
Ferdinands, the Vidics, the Ledley Kings, the person that went down the road, the Carvalhos, this man will be mentioned in the same breath. This man, my favourite player at the club. I love it, like I did Jan Vertonghen. I love a left-footed centre back.
You did
This
mention Maguire.
Oh mate, this man is so special, so special. Like you said, he's come back from a hamstring, where obviously you've got to be careful with when you got pacey players, your hamstrings are the one thing that is a big problem if you keep getting them recurring, which they can do. This man, like you said, he's been out since October, came back, played 290 minutes, and he's just magnificent. He is magnificent, and you could see we've been caught out a few times with the high line. As soon as he's back, there was a few tackles where they thought they were in, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, and do you know what I love about him as well? The sliding tackle seems to be a dying art. Like the diving header, you don't. How many diving headers do you see nowadays in foot? It's just a
Hardly.
rare. It's just a rarity. It used to be the old days. People going with their head. You don't see the sliding tackle as well. Like, listen, Paolo Maldini said if you have to slide and tackle, then you're doing something wrong. But when you're playing that high line and you've got the pace, it's essential. He is the most clean sliding tackler.
Got long
He's
legs as well, Brian, isn't he?
mate.
Got very long legs.
He's just outstanding. I honestly think. We had this conversation before he got injured. During he got the time he
Yeah.
got injured, when people say was Vicario, Van der Ven, or Maddison signing of the season, for me, it's not even a discussion. For me, it's Mickey Van der Ven. We needed the Jan replacement. Listen, we needed everything. We needed a Hugo replacement, a Christian Eriksen replacement, but we needed a Vertonghen replacement. And Mickey Van der Ven, for me, I would even say, I would probably say the signing of that window. Period. I cannot speak highly enough about this guy. I hope he lives out his entire career at Tottenham Hotspur.
I'd like to see the fire emoji, right, added, right, by some video guy. It's not going to be difficult for them when he puts on those afterburners. You know, the thing that's switching the turbo. You know,
mate, have you ever seen the one with Adama Traore for Wolves when he's in Spain? He just does the motor car noise. We need to do that for Mickey. Listen, Cuti Romero, another good performance, another great performance, but his passing was a little bit off at certain points, but his commitment, his dedication, and everything he does, there's a real partnership. And you know what? Kookaburra's just said it. VD, when they're together, they complement each other superbly. Sean Slater, big up my brother. This is the therapy we needed today. Big up Brian and Johnny. Thank you very much indeed, Sean. Really appreciate the super chat. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I think the two of them. I do think we're looking at the birth of Toby and Yan 2.0. Romero, so like you said, came back with cramp. It could have been the time to bring Dragushin on, but we didn't. But his commitment, his passion, he had another good game, didn't he, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's the yin to Mickey Van der Ven's yang, right?
Yeah.
And the balance between the two is superb. I think he was very frustrated last night, Romero. I could see, you know, some of his gestures and stuff. You know, it's very rare. It's not like under Conte, the toxicity. If someone makes a mistake and everyone's shouting at him, you don't have that because you're encouraged to push the ball forward. But to me, he looked really frustrated in the fact that normally what would happen is he would step out or someone would come deep that he could pass the ball and get the move moving, get the whole thing moving. Yep. There were a couple of moments where probably in the game, 3-4 moves, which looked like it had some great fluidity to it. One touch passing, moving out of the defense. They were all started by Romero, and he looks to step up. He got frustrated and sometimes, you know, tried to step into that midfield to, you know, influence things. He is a top player. You know, we need to get him signed on a new contract, in my opinion. But he is, and he will be. I think he is normal world class. He is. I know some people think that's too much, but I think he could play in any single team.
Yep.
In Europe, in this country.
So
top teams, I'm talking.
Right, let's complete the back four. Destiny.
Yeah, look, Destiny had some fantastic moments in that game, some strength. Toxic headset, you said we'll smash Brentford. We looked out on our feet. And Brentford, let me tell you, haven't played for a week, right? They have a nice rest. Go and look at the end of the game and the state of some of our players, right? With 3 days to go. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm wrong.
I think we'll win. I don't know if we're smashed. I think we'll win, or we best win. But yeah.
At least Reguilon won't be. At least Reguilon won't be playing. Okay, so Destiny. He had some really good moments where he used great upper body strength. You know, I think he shut out quite often Foden's runs, Oscar Bobb's runs. I thought he was superb. I've seen some comments that he had a really bad game. I'm not quite sure what they were talking about. Timo didn't look like he tracked back much, so he was often on his own. But some of those runs through the middle of the park, there was one run where he burst through from the middle and he had players left and right of him, and he just took it a little bit too far and ended up flat on his face. But kid's 21 years of age. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I'm going to say, first of all, we've got a super chat coming in, so let me just bring that up. Hi, from Active thank you very much, kind sir. Hi, guys. Of course, Prime City last night, unfortunately. 17 Cup finals upcoming is how we have to look at it now. Yep, that damn right. 17 games left to go. 1 game a week or 2 push it a few times. We best attack this now. We best attack this big time. It is 17 Cup finals, isn't it, Johnny? It literally is. But you know what? With Destiny, Colin Cross said it perfect, and I will say, because I was keeping an eye on him yesterday. He said Destiny was hot and cold yesterday, and I completely agree. Listen, his defensive work, keeping Foden out, was incredible. I loved the bit where he went toe to toe with Walker, and he just shoulder barged Walker, and Walker was like flying on the floor. I was joking about it in the Scotland Yard. I said I'd love to see Destiny do a doggy shoulder barge Neymar, because he'd probably roll all the way out the stadium.
He's still rolling.
Yeah, he would literally. Defensively, he was a beast. Going forward, he makes all the right moves and all the right. His passing let him down yesterday. His passing let him down, and he's been so effective with it. And again, he's one of the players that, and you can see Timo. And when we get to Timo, we'll talk about him more deeply. But there were times he could have released it to Werner. But listen, it's getting used to the player and whatever. Destiny defending was sublime yesterday. Sublime. Going forward, like you said, he got into good positions. He took 1 too many touches. Could have released it a bit quicker, but that's, like I said, that was one of the negatives I took, or the main negative I took. We did not release the ball quick enough. But
can I just say, Brian? Sorry, just to interject there, right? I think the thing is here, right? He's used to playing as a left wing back at Udinese, right? And he played out wide, almost hugging the touch line. And how it used to happen, he would pick up the ball on that touch line, and then he would start to motor. He's extremely quick. When he started to motor and he would cut inside and unleash a shot, he can't play that game at Spurs because he's inverted. As soon as he comes inside, he's running into players, right? It's not like he's building up a head of steam. Sometimes I'd like to see him push a little wider and then build up that steam, because as you saw with Kyle Walker, if you're going to try and take him on, his upper body strength is so strong, he's going to cause trouble. I thought he would score more goals and more assists this season, I've got to be honest, and he hasn't done that. But I think that will come in his game next season.
All right, so midfield, who do you want to go for first?
Go on, give me one. I don't care.
All right, you do Bentancur.
Bentancur. he wasn't himself. He just wasn't himself. I don't know what was up. Stray passing, not being in the right positions. There's not much I can say. I still didn't expect him to be taken off first for Make-A-Wish, but he was. That's all I can say. He's got so much in the bank, Bentancur. Coming back from injury. Should he be playing right now? No. He's probably should be coming off the bench, but needs must. And I think when the players come back, let's hope that these players, when they come back, don't say, "Oh, we're a little bit tired from the competition." I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I mean, first of all, thank you, Tottenham on Tour family, for getting us over 100. Always greatly appreciative. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah.
If we hit 150, Brian will say one, and I mean one nice thing about Daniel Levy. One. Right, so let's try and drive it to 150. Brian, get your thinking cap on.
I can't believe you've done this to me. I can't believe you've done this to me. But you know what? I've already got
find one. You'll find one.
I've already got it. I've already got it. So
okay, so let's drive to 150, guys. Just hit that like button. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't commit you to a lifetime of costs and expense. It's free. Nothing happens.
So Bentancur, one word and one word only for me yesterday was sloppy. Whether it was because he's lacking fitness, whether it was the way Man City were targeting him, he's normally finds the space, finds time, makes time himself. And yesterday, he just wasn't allowed to sit on the ball. He just wasn't. And he just didn't get the opportunity. There was some of his passing. Again, I keep saying it. Yesterday, our passing was either too slow releasing the ball or just sloppy. And listen, he is an elite player. He on his day, he is absolutely incredible. But listen, like we said yesterday, what we saw yesterday, the defense was the strength. The midfield and front line was a huge weakness. I thought, with that midfield, if Bentancur is not on it, it's going to have a huge impact on the other two. And I'm going to address Dejan Predictabiliski, who made an appearance again yesterday. Listen, I will say one thing about Predictabiliski. His work rate and his work defensively is outstanding. What he's doing when we first signed him, obviously under Conte, when he was absolutely flying down that wing, he was progressive. He was up there. He's obviously been asked to do more for the team, and all the good work he was doing there, he was doing back here, and it is having a huge. He's either really, really good when he's playing in the centre, or there's two sides to him. And I'm not talking about it from an attacking point only. That's what he's there for, or that's what he was brought in for: creativity and outlet. And yesterday, I think a lot of the time he was running into Timo Werner's space. A lot of the time in the first half, he just did not look at it at all. He was not. Big up, Ferg. Hope you're good, brother. Hope the family and the little kid's good. Yesterday I think Dejan Kulusevski was awful, if I'm honest. Listen, before everyone starts jumping, work rate, defensive duties, carrying the ball from defense out to further out the pitch. He's great. But that's not what we got Kulu in the squad. That Kulu's a creator. Kulu's meant to be chipping in with goals and assists, and he's just not looking himself. Johnny, what did you think of him?
Look, basically, I thought he was one of probably two or three of the worst players on the pitch. That was my personal opinion. I'm baffled as to how a player who is so progressive and creative was performing so well under a pragmatic manager.
Yeah.
That I expected him to embrace Ange ball and thrive. But unfortunately, for some unknown reason, the opposite's happened. Yes, his work rate's right. Yes, he runs further than anyone else. I'm not interested in an Olympic athlete. I'm interested in a footballer, right?
Yep.
He can run all day. He can run up and down the pitch. Great. He's got great upper body strength. I don't like it when he checks back. I don't like it when he slows down play. I don't like it when he checks back. I want him to put that ball into the box quicker. I still believe, I don't care what tactics, if you put that ball in quickly, right, while the defender is running backwards towards the goal, it's much harder to defend. When you check back and then you put the ball in, the defender has a chance to position himself facing the ball with his feet firmly planted to attack the ball. Mistakes happen when you're running backwards and trying to defend across. I thought he was very, very poor yesterday. Really poor. He's had no consistency. This was basically the time with all these players out, with Maddison's out, to stake his claim. Where I thought, I got to be honest, I was one of the people that thought that Kulu should move into the midfield and be more effective. Okay, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened, and the idea is when injuries come and you have your opportunity, you grab it with both hands to stake your claim. He hasn't done that for me. He
Correct.
has not done that. Bring me Conor Gallagher, stick him in the middle. You can have the holding midfield player that Chelsea have now, or you can have that dynamic attacking player that plays higher up that we saw at Crystal Palace that got goals and assists. Kulu is not doing it. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but no doubt we will see him back on the wing again and Johnson on the bench.
Well, when we get to Johnson, I've got quite a bit to say because obviously we'll get there. But yeah, you complete the set with Pierre.
Pierre, right. So he didn't start great. I thought he had a very good middle of the game. I really did think he put the ball through a few times. He tried to make things happen. I think the first 10, 15 minutes, he didn't start too good. But then I thought he had a really good middle of the game. And then he faded terribly. And which is why I really don't get it. I mean, we could all see, right? He covered so much ground. Look, I'm going to tell you, Rodri, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, okay?
Yeah.
Against a half-fit Bentancur, right? Kulu, who was absent, and Højbjerg, who was trying to cover all the ground. He was knackered, right? He should have gone off with 15 minutes to go, definitely. And then we saw he nearly gave away 2 goals. It was one, he was so knackered, he tried to clear the ball and completely missed. It was embarrassing. It was Keystone Cops. And then he did it again 2 minutes later. Yet he stayed on the pitch far too long.
Yeah.
Action, in-game management, make the changes. But for those people that say he's utter toilet, right, without him, it would have been a lot worse. I mean, Make-A-Wish came on. I don't know what happened there. Both of them, sell both of them, raise the money, and let's upgrade to a quality midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, let's say what I will say with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and I have got this on very, very good authority, and I do mean very, very good authority, is his attitude around the training ground in the last 2 to 3 months has not been the same as previous. Listen, he wants out. He does want out. He changed his agent. He's had some very, very good games. I've always said he looks better when he's coming off the bench. Is when he's doing best. He had good moments yesterday, but how De Bruyne missed that? I mean, that was so casual. That you weren't getting that from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg a season and a half ago.
He looked knackered, Brian. He looked knackered, mate.
Well, mate, this is the thing. But this is the thing. He plays. He's never injured. He listen. There's no doubt, and I keep saying this. If every single person, every Spurs fan was asked, name a player that you think will be fit and ready for action week in, week out, whether you love him or hate him, you'd say Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
He'd go out one leg. You go out
This
and buy
guy,
beef.
I keep calling him the Terminator because I think if you cut his arm open, it's just metal. He's
Yeah.
literally. But and I'm a fan of his. I'm a big fan of his. But he just doesn't look the same. Listen, he can make. When he first came, he made 8
Still
great
better
things
than
happen.
Skip.
Well, Joe, what Ollie Skip came on. I have to say, Ollie Skip was brighter than Maddison when he came on. Doesn't mean that I think he should stay. He should play. I agree with you. If we can get decent money for Højbjerg and get decent money for Skip, or you Skip in the loan deal with the money from Højbjerg and a top up to get in we have to do it. We did that. I'm not going to go there because then this will go off the rails and become Levy management, and then we'll be on for 4 hours.
Well, we could listen. Get rid of him to Fulham. Let him go to Fulham, and
He
we'll
won't
use
go to
that
Fulham.
money. Huh?
Well, I've heard Newcastle. I've heard Newcastle are looking, but obviously they need to get rid. So, one thing I will say is obviously we know we have the domino rally effect where one transfer sets a chain of them off, and I think Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is that player. I think Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, if he does move, is just going to set a chain reaction. But right, we're going to do the forward line, and I'm starting with one person and one person only, and I'm starting with Timo Werner. I have seen so many people saying it was the cheap option, it was free, it was this, it was that, he was useless yesterday. I think he was our biggest threat. I think he was not only that. In the first half, I think there were four, maybe 5 occasions where as we were counter-attacking, he broke, and again he was running clean through, but again delayed the pass. And then in the second half, when he got the ball, he took on his man, put that ball through to Brennan Johnson. Obviously, Brennan Johnson tried to do the scoop over, whether he should have taken it around, whatever. That's a different matter. He hasn't played at all, like you said earlier, Johnny. Since October, I think he hasn't had minutes of football.
2.5 months, 17 minutes.
So there you go.
So there you go.
So he played a large portion of the Manchester United game. He played. He stayed on the whole game, didn't he, Werner?
Yeah.
So he played 90 minutes yesterday. I think there's a real threat there. Whether you want to say, listen, I saw people going saying we sold Kane, we had Kane, some whatever, and now we've got Richie Johnson. Listen, it's a downgrade. You don't get rid of Harry Kane. Okay, my brother is up. Good morning, Ryan. We'll be over in about 15, 20 minutes. I'll come and get you, brother. Or actually, where's the cat? Because that is right by me. Timo Werner yesterday, you could see there's something there. And I honestly think once James Maddison is back and firing, he is going to have an absolute field day and be rubbing his hands together and seeing Werner tear down that left wing. Whether he ends up being the very, very shrewd bit of business it looks like, and then we take advantage of it with the buyout, with the option to buy. Again, we'll see. We will see, Sir Frost. We'll see. But I don't understand the hatred. And he was shitty. He's not ready for us. He's crap. I don't get what people going on about yesterday. I think he was a bright spark yesterday, Johnny.
Listen, don't get me started on the fan base. Brian, you thought we were going to be in disagreement, mate. We're in 100% agreement, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Look, he is an intelligent. His football IQ is everything we're missing up front with Richie and Johnson, okay? 100%. The guy's a German international. yes, his career. He's 27. He's not 32. He's quick, right? He was up against Ian Walker. He was up against Walker, right? One of the fastest players, one of the best defenders in Europe. Okay, he made those runs. He made intelligent runs. We have got nobody, absolutely nobody. I don't care. Everyone would struggle in that team. And as for this whole thing about he's not Harry Kane, you can't replace Harry Kane. You can't replace Messi. You can't replace Ronaldo. They're generational talents. The last time we had a striker like Harry Kane was Jimmy Greaves, bloody 1960s. Come on, guys, get real. If there was Harry Kane's knocking about all over the international circuit, right? Why have Man United struggled to get a striker? Why have Chelsea not got a striker? Why have Arsenal not got a striker? Why are West Ham desperate for a striker? Because there aren't that many top strikers. Timo Werner has cost us £4 million on loan, which we've covered by getting rid of Eric von Dyer, right? Who's now exactly the German. He is now speaking the German. Okay, so it's it's a no-brainer. Okay, get Maddison back. Get someone who, when he gets the ball, hits that ball first time, and watch Werner run. Okay, I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming Richie, and I'm not going to blame Werner. Werner made those runs. No one picked him up. In fact, I was going on about it during the game, and I went back forward wound when I got back to listen to the pundits, and they were saying that Werner made the runs, no one picked him up. TBC, right?
Sorry, Joe, I just want to cut off. I don't even know who this guy is. Brian, there you go again, criticising Johnson and Sonny. Haven't spoken about Sonny, didn't even play. Brennan Johnson, we haven't even spoken about. And we've just spent 10 minutes saying how poor Kulusevski was. So I don't know what version of Ange-r Management you are watching.
Awangshi, right?
I don't
Okay.
know which one you're watching, but you're definitely not.
You must be watching last week's or last month's.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's obviously watching because basically the opposite of everything you've just said has just happened. And am I going to criticise Johnson today? Yes. Have I criticised Kulusevski? How the hell am I going to criticise Sonny when I think he's been one of our best players of the season and he ain't even in the country, let alone on the pitch? But good comment. Please make sure you're liking and subscribing, my friend.
Please stay tuned and keep those ears open.
For more brilliant comments like that. Absolutely outstanding comment. But yes, so we've done Werner. Your choice. Okay. You've got two left.
Okay, well, unfortunately, it was Brenda Johnson that turned up again.
Yep.
Look, guys, okay, I'm going to make this statement. I do not hate Brennan Johnson. I hope Brennan Johnson becomes a top player, okay? But, okay, he was poor, okay? He was poor. I was by him in that first half, and it was one of the most frustrating things I had to watch, right? First of all, he's put through twice on that right-hand side. What did he do? Couldn't even cross the ball. Couldn't even beat the first man. Then Porro was shouting at him to come back and cover for him. He left him exposed. I see him jogging back. He doesn't. He left him. Oscar Bob was coming into that space. And next thing I see, he's jogging back. Come on, man. It's 20 minutes into the game. Why are you jogging back, right? Porro gives him a hard time. What happens? He races back this time. He races back. He can't control the ball. The ball bounces off of his foot and then lays on a pass for them to create an attack. He went down in that first half 3 or 4 times. Like, oh my God, I thought he was going to cry at one stage when he went down. Someone kicked him, right? That's football. Okay, he needs to harden up. Yep. And his football IQ is not right. His football IQ is not right. I do believe that had we got a full strength team, he would be coming off the bench, which he might be his best position to impact in games, to be honest with you. I would like to question the fact, why is a 22-year-old out of breath and struggling to last the pace? Just 47 million. It's not his fault. The price tag is not his fault.
Yep.
Right? Ange wanted him. We gave him this player. But when I look at an Elise for 35 million last summer on his release clause, right? It's gone up again now. And I look at an Eze, who you could have had probably for 50 plus maybe extras. These are players that are happening now. I believe 47 million should not be the price you pay for a work in progress. I hope he turns it around. I really do. I really, really do. But he needs to harden up. I just, some of the decision making is woeful. He had a better second half, but again, he's leaving Porro. He doesn't take players on. I want to see one-on-one. Use your pace. Flip it round him.
Well,
flip, pass and run. There was one moment he did one thing in that first half where he let the ball go and he spun round. Unfortunately, it just went out of play. But that was the one time I thought, there you go. A flash. Well, we need more than a flash, Brian.
So just so I can't remember the name of that troll. Well, I've been one a bit on here. I've been on this on YouTube probably. I've been one of Johnson's biggest supporters, and been backing him, and I still back him. But Colin Cross, Mr. Brennan Johnson, has got it bang on the money again. And I'm not talking about the part about Gavardiol. I'm talking about this guy needs timeout. His confidence is shot to bits this week alone because of once again Spurs fans abusing players rather than blaming the person up top. Because we can't do that. We'll blame a manager, we'll blame players, we'll do everything we can. Apart from the man that's responsible. But because FFP has come round, everything is all good. He saw it. Brennan Johnson needs to be on the bench. I do not believe when we signed him, whether it be 40, like we said, price tag out of it, I don't think he was meant to come in as a main starter. I do not think. I thought he was going to be on the bench.
It's a lot of money for that, Brian, no?
Yeah, but you know what? Whilst you got it, you do it. But I thought, like, if you look, let's go back to his debut when he came on against Sheffield United in that game. Yeah, but listen, that's hard. That is what it is. Yeah. That is what it is. But when he came on against Sheffield United for his debut, he came on, was electric. Had a goal disallowed for offside. Had an assist ruled out for a foul. He looked like he was menacing. He looked like, okay, you can see there's something there. This guy, his confidence is absolutely, he's shot to bits. And he needs help. And I think the biggest help he can get right now is to spell on the bench. And coming off the bench and getting his confidence by doing things like he did at Sheffield United. Is it a waste of 47 million? Right now, you would say yes, especially when you say Elise had 35 mil and there could have been other players. Morgan Gibbs-White, we could have maybe gone for him rather than just as a difference. But he needs time on the bench. He needs to be able to get his confidence back up. Yesterday, I honestly, again, I even went into the game. I tweeted that we're going to win 2-0, Richarlison, Werner, and a great game by Johnson. And I say every single game, Johnson's going to have a stormer. And I've been backing him. And I still back him. But I want him to go on the bench now for his own good. He needs to have some proper time. I think next season we see a better player. I really do. And I still think this time next year we're talking differently about Brennan Johnson. But right here, right now, he needs time out. But now,
can I just add, Brian, just quickly add that Colin Cross made a really good point, and which is I kept going on about your football IQ. Why when you're playing out wide, did you try to make yourself an inverted winger? He kept coming inside. Why are you coming inside and leaving the space out on the flank? Your job is to pull wide. Right, and create space to offer yourself in space, right? Not come inside. And not only did he not make himself available, he crowded that space for our other players. It was all wrong. He didn't look like he knew where he should be. And for 47 million and at 22 years old, when you played your whole career as a footballer, right, and your job is to play on the wing, stay on the wing, track back, stop coming inside when you should be going outside. And as before, take on your man, be brave. Let's move.
Good morning, Chris in Toronto. I hope you're good and I hope you're well, buddy. Thank you, everyone in here. We're up to 265 people. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday afternoon, morning or evening, whatever it is, wherever you are.
Especially after a defeat.
Exactly. Come on to the last player, and someone put a comment in there. It blew my mind, thinking that Hasper has said this about Richie. You and I are fans of Richie. There's people in here that are in Guardians of the Pumba. I need to nip this in the bud now with Richie. Everyone's saying Richie had a poor game. Richie's work rate and hold up play yesterday was there for all to see again. And I'm sorry, but if you're Richarlison is not a Harry Kane, is not a striker that's going to take the ball, create something, and smash it in from 30 yards. This man needs service. He needs service. And when you have one shot on goal all game, you're not giving him service. If he had had 5, 6 attempts and missed them all, then come and talk to me and say, yeah, this man needs service. He's not a striker like a Sonny that can make something, a Salah. He's not that striker. People seem to think now that strikers could do everything and they can create for themselves. He doesn't have that tool. His work rate and hold up play was great again. But if you don't give this man opportunities, I don't know how people can say he's been poor. Like Andrew just said, worked his goddamn arse off. Yeah, he could have lost all. He could have lost again. This is the thing. His duels in the air. I can't remember one cross coming in for him to try and get a header. We just didn't create. Yeah, that could have happened as well, Ferg. But his work rate and hold up play. There's just, like I said, we really lacked in the midfield, which really. And listen, Werner, we said, wasn't used. Johnson wasn't getting the balls in. Johnson's been whipping those balls in for Richie to score. He just didn't get the opportunities, did he, Johnny?
No, there's only one reason we lost. There's only one reason we lost the game yesterday, because Richie is absolute toilet. The worst striker to ever sign for the club. His job is to score goals, and he didn't score any. Therefore, it's all his fault. Yeah. I mean, I've heard it all. I was listening to it on my way out. I can't even be arguing with these people. Okay. Did he get any service? Absolutely not. Right. The twice in the first half where he managed to get a run going to the near post, when Johnson was set free on that right-hand side, he didn't even pass the first man, right? Is that Richie's fault? No. Look how much Richie was closing down players. He was on his own working that line, on his own. There was no one else, right, working that front line. Yeah, he came over, but look at some of the challenges. He won 4 or 5 free kicks, for God's sake, right? He didn't stop running, closing, running, right? He came short, won the ball, laid off the ball, but nothing was happening, right? I personally don't understand. It's the hate remains. I just see it, the worst signing ever. He isn't Harry Kane. He'll never be Harry Kane. No one will be Harry Kane, because Harry Kane is the only Harry Kane. Ronaldo's the only Ronaldo. Messi's the only Messi. You don't replace them, okay? It could be another 50 years, okay? Stop going on about it, rattling on about Harry Kane. He's gone. You can't replace him, okay? We're 5th in the league, right? With half our squad missing. Right, we've had 11 and 12 players, right? Get real, guys, get real. Look at the positives. I'm accused of being negative, right? Constantly by my boys, right? Last night they're telling me I'm negative because I said Johnson was terrible, right? Richie, give him service. When he misses 5 chances, then I'll say he had a poor game, right? But since he had that operation, he carried that injury for a year, right? No one was interested, right? Now, since he's had that operation, he's moving free. He's chasing down the ball. He never chased down the ball before that operation. He looked lethargic. He looked like he was not interested, right? Let's wait and see, right? We got beaten by the best team in the world, okay, with half our midfield missing, okay? Let's get real. Let's judge it when we've got our full team playing, right, against the big teams, right? That's when I'll make a judgment. Okay, let's see what happens.
Yep, right. Before we get on to Ange, Leslie, thank you so much for the comment. My wife, she's starting to feel better. Yesterday when she tested, there was a very, very, very faint line. Hopefully today will be her first negative, and then she'll
Was
be
that
back to
COVID,
normal.
Brian?
Yeah, Ilana came down with
Oh
COVID.
my
She had it
God.
bad. She had it
So did I, man.
bad.
Shocking.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I was very, very concerned. But she's getting
Got to
better day
watch
by
it going
day.
to her chest now, Brian. So keep an eye on her chest. I mean,
So let's get on to Ange Postecoglou. Off you go,
Okay.
brother.
I love Ange. Okay,
What's it?
I really do. But again,
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I got accused of saying, but people, what do you mean he's in-game management? What was he supposed to do? All right, Ryan.
You can't hear you. I got my headset on.
What was he supposed to do? He had no one on the bench bar Maddison. My point was we were going to lose that game. From the 78th minute onwards, we were retreating. We looked absolutely beaten. I wanted him to make the subs. Okay, I'm okay with this belief. There's one way of playing football, and I'm not going to change. But I just want to see a molecule of flexibility in the system. Yeah, play the attacking game, but there's times for game management, right? That last few minutes, stop the ball, go down, get injured, right? Stop the play, break up the play. There was none of that. They were still trying to take, the 80th minute when we're under massive pressure, still trying to take the free kick quickly, right? You can see players out on their feet. There's been games against Wolves and other games where I've just not understood. And to be honest with you, Dane Scarlett coming on for Bright instead of Brian Gill. Games where I've seen Make-A-Wish come on for players. I thought Make-A-Wish, you were only meant to get one game, Brian. But look, I love Ange. I love his positivity. I love the way he talks. And we're 7 months only into the project, okay? But I've got to call it as it is, because that's what this is. It's talking game to game about how we feel that it's going. There are positives. There are many, many, many positives. But this in-game management is really concerning me. And I got to be honest with you, if we're in Europe next season and you want to continue with the naivety in some of your tactics, right, then you are going to get absolutely hammered. I thought Pep's tactics yesterday were absolutely superb. High line, condensed them because they do not have a creative midfielder that will be able to break our lines, right? That's what he tried to do. You could see it after 2-3 minutes, right? Well, 5-10 minutes, 2-3 minutes is an exaggeration. That he knew that was what the case was, and he was absolutely bang on the money. We never looked like scoring. We never looked like winning. It was all about competing and containing, and that's all we did. We tried to stay in the game, and Ange said so himself. That's all we did. We tried to stay in the game. So if we were trying to stay in the game, Ange, you should have made those subs with 10, 12 minutes to go to bring on Dragusin, whether to switch to a back three, right, and switch stuff around, which I think should have happened to give us that little bit of solidity and the ability to hang on to the ball and bring it out of defence. It never happened. So be it. We move on and we learn, hopefully.
Exactly. Listen, Ange Postecoglou, listen, love him to pieces, love him to death. I do get concerned about his changes. I do get concerned about his substitute. It's not even just the personnel; it's the timing of them. The timing of them, and sometimes when something's not working, we used to have a go at Harry Redknapp. There was only Plan A. There was only Plan A. We had a go at Pochettino at the end because it was only Plan A. It was only Plan A. For me, listen, Ange Postecoglou knows a hell of a lot better than me, and whatever he decides to do, I'm going to back him and give him my full.
Surely not, Brian. Surely not.
I know. I mean, how dreadful am I? How dreadful am I for backing a manager? But there were just things he got wrong yesterday, wasn't there? It's all well and good. Listen, he knows how important the F.A Cup is. He knows the trophy drought. And listen, again, we were down to the bare bones. And when you look at it, like I said, Man City, who could have Grealish, Doku, and Kevin De Bruyne of all people on the bench, amongst others. Listen, the rest of their bench was bloody phenomenal as well. But this has been a Spurs problem for a long time.
It wasn't Fulham, was it, Brian? You know, Fulham. I was
mate. Fulham was.
I can't.
Fulham
I'm
was
still
awful.
struggling to forgive him for Fulham. That's my biggest regret.
Fulham was awful, but what I will say is obviously when you looked at Pochettino's comments against Chelsea, when he even said, "Listen, Champions League because of the stadium was always made the price," and it's because of the finances. We all know that, and I'm not going down that road yet. We've got transfer deadline day to go. Who knows where I'll be? But he got found out yesterday. Listen, Pep Guardiola came, didn't play a full side, but let's face it, that team will compete against any team in the world. Like you said, we had our two centre backs coming back from long term injuries, or not so much Romero, but he's had a couple of injuries. One long term injury with Van der Ven. We've had Basuma, Sarr out. The midfield's a real problem. The midfield is a real problem, and when we're playing fast, intense attacking football, you need your passing to the front line to be quick.
Correct.
And the midfield selection, but he didn't have any. I mean, Donnelly.
I can't blame him for that.
Was Donnelly even on the bench? I didn't even look at the bench yesterday.
Donnelly was not on the bench. Another mystifying.
Well, listen, it's just it is what it is, and then that pretty much wraps up Ange-r Management until. Oh God, we're gonna have to do an Ange-r Management on deadline day, aren't we? I forgot about that. Right, okay. So let's tell people what will be going on. Obviously, I've got Ryan here with me, so I don't know if I'll be doing many live cockerel doodle doos because obviously I'm not going to get up at 3 and then take Ryan all around Toronto. I'll be exhausted and in bed by 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It'll only take you 5 minutes to get round Toronto. Don't.
Oh yeah, it's such a a very small city, a very small country.
You've got the Toronto Tower, and
we've done the CN Tower. He wanted to see it last night, so we did that last night. We didn't go on it. I showed him it.
Scotland Yard is the biggest attraction,
of course,
as far as Spurs fans are concerned.
So this week coming up, you're going to have Cockerel Doodle Doo. Ben and Rez, the incredible Ben and Rez, will be doing bits. Rez may be doing some more Rez Dissects, which it's a fantastic job Rez is doing on there. There'll be throw-ins, there'll be bits and pieces. Wednesday, I will be co-hosting Cockerel Doodle Doo, whether it'll be Ben and Rez, maybe it'll be the three of them, but me and Ryan will have it won't be a blurred background like this Wednesday morning. It'll be Niagara Falls. So we're staying at Niagara Falls for the night. My heaven on earth. Thursday, there will be a transfer deadline day.
Hang on, what about Cockerel Doodle Doo? Anger Management.
Yeah, that's what. There'll be a transfer deadline, or we're calling it deadline dayhem is what we're calling it.
Well, I thought we were going to do two, Brian. I thought we should do two. One which was just the game, and then one after for the transfer.
So basically, Ange-r Management will be on in Cockerel Doodle Doo's place. So it'll be at 9 in the morning, UK time, 4 a.m. Toronto time. Then Ben and Rez will take over with Toronto Dayhem, Transfer Dayhem Madness. And then myself and Ryan are making our way to Bryan Island, and we'll be joining and we'll be taking over the second half.
It sounded a bit like when you said, remember, we're going to Bryan Island, it sounded like you're off to Epstein's Island for a minute.
Yeah, definitely not, mate.
Bryan
Definitely not.
Island,
I just want to say, Lee Harvey, thank you very much indeed for the super chat. So, Johnny, where can people find you?
You can find me stuck in my place. Johnny H3232. Give me a follow here. I'm trying to build up my Instagram account again, as I said, after it got taken down with 9,500 followers. It's gone right. If you sorry. If you follow on here in my bio, there's a link to my Instagram. If you get time to just give me a follow, if you're on it, great. You'll find me here on Tottenham on Tour, my ancestral home.
Damn right. Don't you ever forget it.
Brian, you see me on other shows, but this is my home. This is my
correct.
Home.
Well said, sir.
This is where it all started.
Well said.
But so let's hope come Thursday we're talking about a positive result against Brentford. because we really, really need these 3 points now. No messing around. I think it's going to be a hard game, guys. And all these people thinking we're going to walk over them. Okay, let's see.
I'm going to see. I might be able to get Ryan to a Leafs game. I'm going to have to try and pull a few strings. I have an inside man at the state. I'll see what I can do. They're very, very expensive Maple Leaf tickets, but if I can, we'll go. And Rich, thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Leslie's just come in. Report states 80 million. Yeah, Leslie, one thing I'll tell you right here, right now, and I'll tell you through my lovely connection with We Are Tottenham TV and them doing this for years, Football Insider and 90 Minutes are people that you could say literally they would try and run a story that we're after Ronaldo and Messi. Do I think this transfer may happen? I think I've said it all along. I don't think it happens, but I've got a feeling now with the midfield that we have, we need reinforcements. Maybe it will happen.
We will get one, Brian. We will get a mid. I believe that we could have, as I said, if he doesn't sign the Norwegian boy, it could be a noose around. It could be a noose around Levy's neck.
Yeah. So like I said, guys.
Didn't get that pun, did you?
Yes, I did. A noose. Yes, very good. You're Johnny. Mate, you're the king of dad jokes. I can read your sense of humour like a book. It's very similar to mine. But like I said, guys.
Death.
We will be back. Like I said, Sean Slater saying I'm taking a rest. Yeah, whilst he's here, I'm on my holiday, so I'm having a domestic holiday. But guys, listen, thank you. What I will say is Rez and Kim have put a lot of work. You'll see all of our graphics, all of our artwork, everything's going up a level, and that is Kim and Rez, a majority Kim, who is unbelievable. What they have in store for our Transfer Dayhem stuff is just out of this world. We'll be keeping you up to date, having guests coming on. So if you want to come on, we'll get you on during the day. It'll be non-stop. There's a little collection of shows coming out. I'm not going to give any hints away. There'll be pre-recorded bits coming out. It's just going to be a very, very good day. But what I will say is the 202 that are still in here, thank you for spending your Saturday with us. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always,
goodbye from Gift.
Out.
Make a gift.